Chapter chats with comic book legend D.G. Chichester, superhero movie brackets in our search for the worst comic book movie of all time, and many, many more specials, all completely uncensored. Access starts for $3 a month, full video when you pledge $5 a month. Check out the link in our show notes or go to patreon.com/CapesandLunatics. Hope to see you there.
This is Luca Perich, and you're listening to the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
I'm here for Peter.
No little hellfire this one.
Aren't we all?
That's right. The sausage fest starts right now. All right, kids. Yes, welcome back to another episode of the Ultimate Spider-Cast. I am Phil, and this time I am joined by, of course, if you're on the Capes and Lunatics, you know, Mr. Charlie, the Professor Esser.
Live from the Cell Block 4. Welcome, everyone.
And he doesn't even know this yet, Lil Hellfire has dubbed you her mini-me, Mr. Justin.
Ooh, I love that.
Yes.
That's fantastic. I
Yes.
love that. I will wear that with pride.
From Tomes of Evil and Gamma Charge, the strongest, well, Lil says the strongest Marvel podcast there is because she told you Hulk, Superman can beat Hulk. So
That's true. I still want to see that fight. I still want to see that.
I mean, it
and
did
Marvel
happen.
better do it.
But it was Professor Hulk. He could not reach full rage. There's a whole there's a whole Reddit page about it, man.
Professor Hulk versus Mullet
like,
Superman.
Mullet, exactly. That was like 30 years ago. We need a rematch. We need an updated rematch.
Yeah, I would not want to be either of those two because first off, I think at this point, Superman's the kind of guy that would just literally not want to fight and would just throw the Hulk into the sun. And it wouldn't kill the Hulk. It wouldn't defeat the Hulk in any possible way. But it would just be like, okay, no, we're just going to do this. And you're going to crawl out of the sun. And I'll just throw you back in every couple of years. It's fine. This is just my hobby now.
Or Superman will be like, listen, you want to go back to Sakaar? Because, like, I can take you there in, like, 5 minutes. Like, we'll be there in no time.
You know, sadly, Sakaar does not exist anymore in the 616. This real 616.
I know. Now we have two 616s: the comics, the live action.
Well, as I always say, everybody thinks they're in the 616 until they find out they're actually the 6178910. You know, it's just this thing. It's like, yeah, there's a 616 from which everything's deriving from. And you thought you were in the 616 because at one point, some Time Variance Authority guy said, yeah, you're in the 616. Except all of that has branched off. And like 616 just means you're the central authority you're the central universe within that particular strain of that particular universe. And at least they're not calling it Earth 1. And to me, that's the most perfect thing. That it's like, no, not in any ways at Earth 1. We know that. Yeah. But we're just going to call it, okay, this is the Earth 616, because that is, of course, as everyone knows, the true number of the beast in Greek.
Yeah.
We don't know what it is in Hebrew, and that would actually be the mother tongue of the Antichrist. But moving right along, Philip.
All right. I'm just going to do debates and creative teams for these issues because there's no way we're getting through synopsis for 3 issues. But yes, we're doing Frogman and the Spider Kid tonight. So here we go.
Do not forget the terrible Toad.
Yes, in the last issue.
Oh,
yes.
the Toad.
He's the leader, my friend.
Yeah,
He's
this is a
got
good
seniority.
Toad.
Thank you very much.
Oh my. All right. So the first one was Marvel Team Up 121 from September 1982. Look Before You Leap. Writer Jam DeMatteis, penciler Carrie Gamble, anchor Mike Esposito, colors Bob Sharon, letterer Joe Rosen, and editor Tom DeFalco. All right, so how do we do this?
I think DeMatteis had a real love for this type of character.
Oh yeah. That's what me and Justin were talking about. Like he does some serious stuff. He even does some darker stuff. But yeah, Like he has like he did like a big run on this on Defenders. There are certain books where he just went totally completely. Yeah, he loves stuff like this.
I know.
Throwing in
Honestly,
those
it's
little comedy issues in between the serious stuff to
Yeah.
lighten it up a little bit. Yeah.
but at the same time, I can get the idea of hero worship in these,
Mm.
and it
Totally.
almost surprises me. I'm wrong, and maybe he did, but it almost surprises me that he didn't write the Johnny Storm decides not to be this Human Torch story again. Because it's like, oh wow, that's like exactly like this, but with a tragic turn at the end.
Right.
So anyway, so Phil, are you ready?
Yeah. So basically, the Torch is bored, goes out looking for trouble, finds it.
Oh, speaking of the Torch, yeah. These people, these superpowered teenagers.
What do you mean these people?
I mean these children with superpowers.
These reckless
no
youths.
superpowers. You reckless youths.
Utes.
These two youths going in to these stores to buy tuna fish. It's not acceptable in this jurisdiction, my friend.
And the Torch and Spidey always get into trouble together. Like they have a track record for getting into lots of shenanigans together.
Well, they try to one up each other, which is fine with these like regular hold up men. But then when Speed Demon shows up, it's just
Yeah, see, they don't take their job seriously. I said it. I said it. They're like, we're just so super powered. We can just joke, just sort of friends. He's my friend from work,
Yeah,
We're just gonna joke where all the bad guys run in.
Yeah. Oh, and this guy, he's just a super fast guy. He's not a threat at all. We'll just web him up, right? Yeah,
No.
It doesn't work that easily.
Yeah, no. I mean, super speed's the best superpower. As long as it doesn't come with super aging, which it sometimes does. Let's be honest. But super speed, if it doesn't combine with super aging, it's like that is like, oh wow, so I can just move super fast and like I can pull your pants down while you're not even looking because you can't react that fast, and now I've completely defeated you. It's an amazing superpower. Treating any speedster with any disdain is ridiculous.
And in this issue, especially, like Speed Demon, at one point he karate chops the pavement in the middle of the street and starts flinging chunks of it like they're missiles at Spidey and the Torch. So, yeah, when used properly, that is a deadly power.
Well, exactly. I mean, and that is really the point. I mean, honestly, and for what it's worth, this guy apparently knows what the heck karate is. So it's, and let's be fair, that's probably asphalt, so it's probably a little weaker.
Right, yeah.
It's not like it was a concrete street, but still.
There's New York contractors.
Cutting corners everywhere.
He knows how to deliver the blow and pull back, so he's not just crushing his hand when he's doing it, Because that's the trick of that. It's like you push through and back. You don't want to, you never want to just continue to push it so it has the equal and opposite reaction. When you get the opposite reaction, that's when you pull back. So,
Yeah.
I mean, he knows all the tricks. I mean, he knows all the
not
tricks.
The opposite reaction.
Snuffing the Torch's flame. He's whipping garbage can lids.
Yeah. Well,
He always takes the head off with a garbage can lid. Yeah, it's great.
There was a reason why when you go to the Sinister, the Squadron Supreme universe, he's actually like the Flash. It's like, this character, not the Wizard, sadly, because, I guess they figured the Wizard was a bad name. You have to embrace it, friends.
He's
the Wizard.
Personally.
Just be the Wizard.
That's right.
Again, calling yourself the Wizard in a yellow costume, that takes guts.
It was a different time, Phil.
And it was
Respect the title.
It was the same tone of yellow too.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Honestly, they probably literally named him the Wizard and gave him a yellow costume for that reason.
The golden shower.
Oh, okay, Lilf Jr., settle down. But okay, so yeah, but so while the Torch and Spider-Man are trying to take down Speed Demon, we see an old man and his son.
Well, that guy does not like superheroes, Phil.
No.
He's just raging in the street in front of everyone.
And you know what, man? I'm going to tell you, it gives you that weird vibe about about that superhero universe where do not talk ill of the superheroes, okay, man? Making the scene. You're going to cause problems for us, man. Even the cop's like, hey, who are you talking about the superheroes? It's like, nobody's talking bad about the superheroes, sir. We're happy little sheeple. We love the superheroes.
Although you can always go 50-50 with Spider-Man. It's either, hey, stop talking like that about Spider-Man. Or, I read Jameson's articles. He's a threat. He's a menace.
Yeah, he's a menace. Yeah, he's a monster.
He is a threat and a menace.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, is he threat or menace? Stop, you're both right.
I think the biggest pushback you get on Johnny Storm would be like, yeah, he kept Galactus from stepping on my grandma. Yeah, don't you talk about bad about Johnny Storm.
No, but you worry about a man who's on fire all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
even Spidey's giving him
yeah.
flack about that, about chasing girls and hot rods, man. Basically saying you don't take this business seriously, Johnny Storm. Someday some kid's gonna let himself on fire because of you. I'm just telling you right now.
Peter was a little jealous of Johnny. I think he was a little jealous of his lifestyle.
Maybe, because, I mean, Johnny's out there. Everyone knows who he is. Peter hides behind the mask. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's a whole what if. Like, if Spider-Man had waited 5 minutes and Reed say, well, actually, you know what? We can talk about money. That's fine. I give it, we got money. I don't, it's fair for us to discuss it if you don't run off in a freaking nonsense rage every 5 minutes, kid.
What? Hey, General Motors.
Ben's not in charge. There's a reason Ben isn't in charge. He's a smart guy. He's a cool guy. One of my favorite superheroes, but he's not in charge, Spidey. So maybe wait to see what the boss says.
Yeah. Look at what happened when Ben was in charge. It didn't end well. Yeah.
Well, and to be fair, Ben was actually trying to make it a whole thing about, Anyway,
that's a whole other thing.
He was being a jerk. He was a jerk. Ben was a jerk. Let's be fair. He got the power and he went to his head and he used it improperly. Same thing when he found out he was a billionaire.
Oh, yeah.
And, Reed just said, I gave him the whole Brewster's Million shtick, just let him have the money just so he'd wear himself out with it.
The mo money, mo problems talk.
Exactly. It's like, you got to let the kid run it through,
Yeah.
And it's not to say he's dumb, but he is, he's ruled by his emotions and people are ruled by their emotions.
He's very impulsive.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes when someone's ruled by their emotions, you got to let them F around and find out, And it's like, okay, now we found out. And you let them find out in a controlled environment where no one gets hurts. Then it works out okay. Anyway, what were we talking about? Oh, yes, this person who says he fought Daredevil.
Vincent.
Yes. I don't know if that's true, Philip. I don't know if that's true because there is no editor's box in this. There's no editor's box telling me where to find out where Daredevil ever fought someone named Leapfrog. Did that even happen, Philip?
Yes, it did. Charlie.
Or is this just this old man's ramblings? What? It did?
Yes, it happened in Daredevil number 25, December 1966. His creators were Stan Lee and Gene Colan.
You made a fool out of me, Philip. That's for sure.
The first time for everything, Charlie. Yes, sir.
As well, there should be.
Vincent,
yes, so
Vincent Pataleo.
Honestly, I love this history of the Frogman and a Leapfrog. Just this idea of this guy again, and this is what I love about the Marvel Universe, because it's like he's trying to build things and get patents for them, but they all get rejected expressly because I'm sure the scientists at the patent office are working with real physics and real science, but it's like MCU. It's like the Marvel comic science. So it's like
Marvel
nothing that's
science.
nothing in the books actually matches what happens if you reverse the polarity, and so it's like, well, this won't work, so we can't approve your patent. It says, but it's like physically demonstrably working. It's like, that is not important to me as a patent examiner. I just need to know what the math is. And the answer is there is no math. And that's how science works in the MCU. That's why Tony Stark is so successful. Because he doesn't care about the math.
Yeah.
You know? If you don't care about the math, you can be really powerful in the MCU.
Yeah.
Or the Marvel Comics universe. Let me just correct myself for all iterations. If you don't care about the math, you're just fine in the 616.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yes.
But anyway, the fight ensues.
Yeah, but Vincent, yes, is raving against superheroes. Him and his son Eugene go home, and he's still all angry. Accidentally slaps his son, and then he's like, "I'm gonna go lie down." And that's when
he gives him the Ant-Man. He gives him the Hank Pym move.
Oh
the Hank Pym, man! I looked at that panel. I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's the Hank Pym."
Yeah,
it's like the full Hank Pym. They're like, "Quiet," and it's like, "Oh, I didn't mean to hit you, kid.
Can't think."
Yeah. It's like, but and the kid, just like Janet, was just like, it's okay, not the first time. I'm gonna call it a day. I'm gonna walk away slowly, and we're gonna deal with what we have to deal with.
Yeah, and then the poor kid has to fix himself some lasagna to eat.
No, he's not in the mood for lasagna.
To be fair, and that's the thing. It's like, I don't even know if they had a microwave. I do want to say they had like a ground floor apartment in that really nice brownstone. I mean, honestly, maybe they could have moved to Brooklyn and had a more cost effective apartment. But I guess this was the rent control on the one his wife had. So, I mean, that's the whole thing. That's the weird thing about this. Like, if you know about New York real estate laws, you understand what's going on. It's like, yeah, it's a kind of a rundown thing. It's in a nice location, but we have rent control, but still we can't even make the rent. So it's a constant struggle in those kind of situations. Because it was clearly close enough to the Baxter Building. Because I don't think they're in Queens in this. I think they're in Manhattan, probably Lower Manhattan, probably Financial District. Which was not big for residential at the time. But, there were a few, and if you had that apartment, maybe it got passed down through generations, probably through the wife.
Right.
It actually had its value. But at the same time, the landlord's always trying to stick it to you, and it becomes a rat trap in time. Because the landlord doesn't want to put money into it because you've got rent control, and it's a vicious cycle.
So yeah, that's like the running story while the Torch and Spider-Man are battling Speed Demon. Especially after Eugene puts on that suit and just like can't control his leaping.
Well, he does pretty good, and as he said, he has been practicing with this at night. He does make a point to say he has been practicing. He's been sneaking out against his father's wishes, I'm sure. Because this has been his plan all along. He has always wanted to find a way to prove himself, to prove that the Frogman technology could actually be used for good.
Yeah.
But those guys at the patent office were wrong. His dad just went about it in the wrong way. You can use this science for good. And that's what he's trying to prove to his father.
But unfortunately, he gets a bag over the head.
Well, honestly, that old lady probably could have handled those thugs. She's probably that probably ain't her first rodeo. It's like, oh, you got guns? Let me show you what I got.
She might have had a brick in that purse, for all we know.
It's New York.
Who knows? It's New York in the 80s, my friend.
Yes, absolutely.
Let's just be honest here.
Yeah.
For all the superheroes, everyone's like, yeah, you know what? That's fine.
Yeah, this is
What's
New
more?
York.
What's a few more crazies than spandex around here? You know.
And then those hoods Spider-Man and the Torch captured earlier see him from the cop car. They're just like, oh, they think it's his father. It's like, Leapfrog, come free us.
Where are you going?
Yeah, which is pretty bold of them, quite frankly. Because if nothing else, there are supervillains, and you don't know that that's actually. It could be literally someone else in his costume.
I knew him from the pen.
There's
only one Leapfrog. There's got to be only one Leapfrog.
Only one man would.
Which is the kind of thing that made me think this was all made up. That, like, Leapfrog. I was a supervillain. I was called Leapfrog. I fought Daredevil and such. This was my costume. Here's a picture of me, and
I beat up the Fantastic Four too.
Yeah, I'm sure you did, Leapfrog. We all believe you.
This one time I punched Doom in the face. See.
Hurt my hand because that face is actually metal. Don't do that. That's a stupid move. I'm telling you right now.
I went in. I said, "Hey, Doom, pay this Luke Cage's $200." See.
Anyway.
So yeah, the fight keeps going. Speed Demon makes Torch shoot a fire hydrant that once again puts out his flame.
Yeah. Literally running circles around him.
Yeah, well, because it's the and again, Johnny Storm doesn't take his job seriously, and first off, is not a street level hero. This is not his bailiwick.
That's
it's
true.
like, in fact, I mean that's sort of Spider-Man's thing, and this whole thing is like, dude, just like stick to Galactus and Skrulls.
Right.
This isn't really your department, man.
The speedsters don't really work out for the Torch.
Yeah, no.
Because I think Quicksilver beat him up too before, didn't he?
I mean, lots of people have.
Yeah, but he doesn't do well against speedsters. So
he's used to villains underground that move much slower.
You know what it is he's kind of he's a Worf. Which is like he's the big tough guy that when you take him out, oh, this is serious because he's one of the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
And you can do it with the Thing, but you need a little more oomph to take out the Thing. But if you have a character that's just like wily, like the Human Torch is a guy you can take out with wile, that brings it down. It's like, oh, okay, this is a character we should respect. Later, not so much, but still in this moment, we're going to respect him.
Yes, because again, it's Eugene who finally takes down Speed Demon because he's like, oh, I better turn off this power pack. And it's like, oh no, the wrong switch. And he bounces all over the place and literally gives Speed Demon a buttload of trouble as he lands butt first on.
Turned it up to 11 accidentally.
That was my favorite part of the issue, I think, when he was bouncing all over the place. I loved it.
Yeah, it's a delightful trope of the comics of the era. It's like anytime a Volstagg saves the day.
Yeah.
It's like, and it's like, of course I meant to do that. It's
right.
Although in this moment, Eugene's dad comes along and says, "I'm glad you did it, son, and it's great, but let's never do this again."
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Even Spider-Man's like, I hope you learned a lesson from this. Teenagers shouldn't be superheroes.
Which is kind of ironic, let's be honest.
Exactly.
Yeah. Deeply.
Get off my lawn, kids.
Yeah.
Spider-Man yells at Cloud.
Do as I say, not as I do, Eugene.
Yeah. I mean, that's... and that's the thing. It's like, he's like, well, I had superpowers, so you normies need to know your lane. Did you hear the cop telling you to just shut up and be quiet and just appreciate how great it is to live in a city with superheroes? Don't make us beat you up, man.
You wouldn't like us when we're angry.
Exactly.
Oh, my. All right. So any other thoughts on this one, or should we move to the next one?
Well, whatever happened to Kerry Gamble? I love his artwork.
I don't know. I mean, I know he did a bunch of early work, but
Yeah, he was one of my favorites early on, but he like disappeared. I think in the '90s, and I don't know where he went.
yeah. Let's see. There's links. Can look this stuff up.
I hope it didn't end tragically. I hope he just had enough money to have his nice nest egg and said, you know what? That's good. I'm going to just do commercial art now. I'm going to draw beautiful Cadillacs for General Motors, and that's enough for me. I don't need to live hand to mouth anymore with comic books.
Yeah, I don't have to worry about
that's the
deadlines
dream.
anymore.
Let me draw Santa Claus once a year, and that'll be my business, and that'll be $1 million a year, and I'll be happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what. I can't find anything. Yeah, but just says he's born 1954. So I mean, he's young enough. He could still be around. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so I'm glad we didn't find any tragic stories at the end of that.
Yeah, me too.
I was gonna say he's in his late 60s. He might have retired.
Yeah, well, probably retired at a certain point. Like I said, maybe he'd have made enough from that, or he got some other gig.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. If you're an artist,
to animation or something,
moved on to animation, moved on to any other things. Like,
right.
If you got a skill, if you got a marketable skill, there's lots you can do.
Absolutely.
So remember that, kids. As a man who has no marketable skills, I'm going to tell you, if you have a marketable one, use it, because those are valuable.
That's right.
Moving right along.
All right, so this next one we'll cover. We're going to talk some Spider Kid now. Amazing Spider-Man, 263 from April 1985. The Spectacular Spider Kid. Writer Tom DeFalco, penciler Ron Friends, inkers Brett Breeding and John Beatty, Bob Sharon colorist, letterer Joe Rosen, and editor Danny Fingeroth. So,
good old Danny Fingeroth.
Yeah.
Used to love that name when I was a kid. Yeah, I mean, I do love the Spider Kid. I love that he's got the girl that doesn't want to be bullied, which is it's a delightful fantasy.
Such the comic, and she has such the comic book name, Jane Lane.
Jane Lane, I love that.
Hey, at least it's not double consonants, or it's at least it's the vowels that are the same.
Oh yeah, Molly Osnick, yes.
Oh yeah, I mean, you know what? It's and again, this goes to that idea about the weirdness of super science. Doesn't matter if you could actually make a patent out of this. Reality is reality, and reality is very malleable in this universe. So he's got, he made octopus arms, but because of how much Spider-Man influenced him, he's decided to, instead of having completely flexible arms, he's going to put a couple knee joints in there. So, they have a little bit less movement, just to show his commitment to Spider-Man.
Yeah, because I was going to say, Charlie Esser, another one of your favorite characters, Dr. Otto Octavius. How do you feel that this child first emulized Dr. Octavius, but now he's like, oh, Spider-Man almost beat me, then saved me.
First off, this Steel Spider is a favorite character of mine, expressly because of his return in Spider-Girl, although with both arms. So honestly, it's a very convoluted timeline, and clearly the Spider-Girl timeline veers off. Because in that one, Steel Spider did have both arms. In our own universe, he's one arm short thanks to Scorpion Venom, which is the first time Venom actually ate human flesh. So it's at a certain point, you're like
chicken.
Well, what it really is that was always Venom's big talk, but he never actually did it because it was probably Eddie Brock's big talk.
Yeah.
And Venom.
If he did it, you didn't actually see it happen. If it did.
Yeah, it wasn't. Well, no, it wasn't until Matt Garrigan got it that the big talk actually translated into reality. Because that's the thing. It's like the symbiote ain't doing any of this. It's all the crazy nuts running the show. If it keeps on bonding with crazy nuts, they're gonna do crazy things.
Right.
So the next time we see Steel Spider, he will have another, Winter Soldier arm, and that'll be cool.
But
except he'll probably actually have a tentacle arm because it's way more useful than just one that bends at the elbow.
But no, I mean, there's craziness all over this universe. I mean, he tries to stop this street gang who I'm guessing is emulating the Ghost Rider because they're the Blazing Skulls.
Yeah.
Well, no, they're emulating the Blazing Skull, and hero who fought Nazis because they were.
We're gonna terrorize.
He was
these people
indoctrinated into the Ancient Order of the Blazing Skulls or some such. So it's a way to capitalize on that old, satanic panic of the 80s, Phil. Really, it's like, we'll say we're the Blazing Skulls because just like that Blazing Skull who was a hero in the 40s who got powers of satanic Blazing Skull magic, and that'll scare the people for real this time.
So he tries to break up the this street gang. It's like mugging a couple or something, but they almost get the advantage over Spider Kid until the cops show up. Yeah. Why are you stop? Come back! Why are you dressed like that?
Well, the cops are wondering what the heck's going on because it's a person with metal arms. And in this situation, you don't always assume, as we'll get to in a later thing, you don't always assume that the person with the super tech is the bad guy. You usually assume it is, not the person who's being chased,
Right.
Because when we get to the later Amazing Spider-Man stories, that the same wackiness happens to poor Spider-Man. I got theories about that issue too, so moving right along.
Yeah, because then we see Peter with Black Cat, and then later going home thinking, well, first we get caught up on spectacular Spider-Man stuff, then we get caught up on Amazing Spider-Man stuff. So one thing I must say about this era, they did try to keep the continuity between all the books.
They did.
Oh my
goodness, cover it all.
My costume is too stinky. I can't wear this again. Or it's what I just washed it. Let me wear this costume Felicia made. Which I love the fact that Felicia, for all the other things she has to do, she's still a fantastic seamstress.
Yeah, she sat down and stitched that whole costume for him.
It's like, trust me, that's... that's, and for what it's worth at the time, that's what home ec class, that's what they taught you, is how to sew. And, if you were serious and a committed student, you learned how to sew.
Admittedly, it's not that far of a stretch from her own costume. She just took the white fur off it.
Well, exactly. And then put it, she did the white, the little things. And Peter says he likes it. That's the thing.
Yeah, he loves that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, at this
time he loved
the web shooter, so now it goes from the top instead of the bottom. So
yeah.
Oh yeah, from this point for a while, like he's back and forth between the two costumes because a few years back I talked to Ron Friends because he even said like they weren't sure how that black suit was going to go over, if people were going to hate it or not. So they for a while, like who'd he say? Somebody was talking about, oh hey, maybe we'll just keep that for like a month or two. And then, what was it, Tom DeFalco who was writing it, or somebody was like, no, we got to keep the black suit at least until we get to that point in Secret Wars where we show how he got the black suit. So, but then everyone liked it. So I guess even after he gave up that symbiote, they did the cloth one, and then they switched back and forth. Which you see in this issue, I mean, he wears both in this issue.
Yeah, I love it when he switches back and forth here. I love that.
I would love for someone to go back and explain why exactly Spider-Woman had the same suit. She is psychic, man. So maybe maybe when they got to Secret Wars world, the Venom suit was reaching out to her psionically. So man, there's like so many super connections you can do with this stuff.
Well, remember our coverage of Secret Wars, Charlie? She showed up first, then he popped that suit out of the.
I know, but that's the thing. But it's also. But that's also what Venom looks like. So it's like, why does she have? It's like Spider-Man thinks he's copying her look.
Maybe she had precognitive abilities like Madam Web.
Oh,
Well,
God.
maybe. Well,
Pretty
she
much
is
is,
part
huh?
of the Spider. She is part of the Spider family.
And I think
With
she
her
was
psionic webs.
Madam Web for a little while. So maybe
Mhm.
I think so. Yeah,
maybe
you
she
know,
had a
so
glimpse of the future and was like, "That's my costume. I want that."
exactly. I mean, these are these depths of lore that they need to plumb. That's all I'm
Yes.
saying.
I agree.
Settle the debate, Marvel.
Yes, because later that night, yes, Ollie puts up a spider signal and Peter shows up. He's like, wait a minute. He's like, now we don't match. He's like, wait, what?
Yes.
He's like, Ollie Osnick.
It's all about people who want to be Spider-Man's best friend and sidekick forever.
Mhm.
It's almost like the Incredibles, except that none of them get sent home. To become supervillains. I mean, that's really what it is. It's literally just that. Rather than make them become supervillains, eventually Spidey makes them just team up with a supervillain.
Yeah.
You know.
You know,
But we'll get to that in a minute.
It's an effective strategy so far.
You know, I mean, hey, Goldie told him. Oh no, sorry, Bambi. Oh, I'm getting my hot rooftop sunbathers confused.
Yes. Oh, yeah, his old neighbors, Candy, Randy, and Bambi.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
I remember Tar Beach, man. Tar
And
Beach.
who was the female landlady that always had the cigarette?
Mrs. Muggins.
Muggins. Yeah, I loved
Yeah.
her. She was always swearing and hollering at the fan.
Yeah.
She was great.
You're late with your rent, Parker.
You're late with your rent.
Get your rent when you fix the door. I'm sorry, that's a different universe.
Rent. But yeah, Ollie wants to be Spider-Man's sidekick, and of course he gives him the all. Well, it's too dangerous. I have powers, you know.
See, he is such a power supremacist.
Just like with Frogman, which we'll get there.
Exactly. Didn't you hear the cops? You're not allowed to speak ill of us. We're better than you humans.
So Ollie
Just like Homelander said.
So Ollie takes
superior.
off. Yeah, Ollie takes off, but that street gang sees him, and they find him when he meets up with Jane Lane,
Yeah.
who loves that outfit she's wearing because she wears it at least 2 different days in a row.
Yeah,
You know, she
rocking
likes
that
the
bandana.
green with the headband, man.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the headband.
It was,
yeah.
that was very big. Supergirl even wore one, so you know that was the style at the time, like wearing an onion on your belt. It was very much. That's how they knew you were a hipster, Phil.
I know, but you're playing with fire if you're a blonde wearing any kind of head thing like that in a Spider-Man book. Gwen Stacy taught us this.
That's right.
Well, we'll get to that all later, you know.
Ah.
But how to properly save a falling woman.
Oh my god,
Yes.
they did that many. They redid that many times in the Clone Saga. It's like, yes, you have to swing. There's no straight stop, and
Or just throw down a net. Just like throw a net.
he was sick that day.
It's like, you know, it's like you have a net web. Just use that.
Just use it. Why not use it if you've got it?
Yeah, you know. Anyway, kids today. Moving right along.
So yeah, Spider-Man takes on half the gang. I love the other half of the gang finds Ollie, and they're, you know, he's like, come on. They're like, okay, kid. And then they see Spider-Man hanging on the wall, like, oh no, we're not messing with you.
Running off.
Yeah. Well, there you go. I mean, you know, because no one wants to really mess with a real superhero. But at the same time, the guy does have, like, crazy arms. And that's the thing. It's like, had he been a more evil character, had he been more like Otto, people would have died horribly in that scene. And it's like, you know, it's like you are really lucky that an actual, like, relatively non-sociopathic person decided to make these for once. Because Otto would have just, like, ripped off your rib cages in this scene and said, okay, I guess you're not a threat anymore.
We also get a touching moment at the end of this issue with the birth of Harry and Liz's child. And I laughed when I was reading this because I was like, oh, look, it's a Chucky.
Well, it is little Normie, yeah.
Little Normie, who goes
Oh,
on to,
Ugh,
I mean, honestly, in other
creepiest kid in the Marvel
universes,
universe.
Popping heads on Spider-Man dolls for decades to come.
Yeah, that is the
you
creepiest
know,
kid in the Marvel universe.
Okay, so in the MC2 universe, the Spider-Woman universe, the Spider-Girl universe, he actually becomes the Golden Goblin, who Norman Osborn is about to become. So yeah, there's like things that can happen here. I don't know. Little Normie, I always hold out hope for him. Although at the same time, I guess Liz Allen's now all evil too. So who knows anymore?
She creates Alchemex.
But you know, the old ruler, the old person who ran Alchemex was Ravage 2099. So you know, good people still work there, Phil.
Yes, it's not hopeless completely.
I told you, people work for the Joker, man. There's hope for any
He had
evil
great
organization.
dental. You know,
You have to have.
Well, because you need it. You need it. You need we do implants. We do partials. You know, look, I know what you're going through, guys. Trust me.
Hey, boss, that Batman punched my teeth out again.
Don't worry, man. We get you some implants.
I'm sorry, I'm contractually obligated to hit the button.
Batman, my favorite character.
Yeah. As things go.
But yeah, no, there's a happy ending because Ollie's been saying, "Oh yeah, Spider-Man. I'm friends with Spider-Man," and all those bullies at school are like, "Yeah, right." So yeah, Peter swings in at the end to check on him, and they're like, I love how the one's like, "Oh, Ollie's taking your girl," and the bully's like, "Shut up! I'm not messing with Spider-Man's friend."
Fair enough. Although, I'm going to be honest with you. When you go through the MC2 universe, I think it might have been Jane Lane who basically talked him into patenting stuff, making $1 billion, then taking it all in a divorce. So, might not have been her, but that was the plot line, was that when he got rich, everybody loved him.
So she had a long-term plan, you say?
Yeah, she wanted a headband for every day of the week.
Diamond studded, my friend. Diamond studded. And that's how it ended. So, you know what? Maybe in the best of all universes, Spider-Man, Steel Spider should have lost an arm. So, I guess that's the long story short of the entire thing.
Well, in battle or divorce court, he lost an arm and a leg.
Well, no, he only lost an arm in the real world. So, in the main
easy. All right, so kids, yes, we're going to see converging characters here in the last one. Amazing Spider-Man 266 from July 1985. Jump for My Love or Spring is in the Air. And of course, who could have written something with a bad pun like that for a title? Peter David, of course.
Peter David.
Good old Peter. We love him so.
And penciler Sal Buscema, so you can expect someone to get right across the room.
Oh yes, lots of uppercuts here.
Even if he doesn't understand how Cyclops' powers work.
Oh, Peter David. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Peter David. Oh, still gonna find that drop when he called you a dumbass.
He's my arch nemesis.
Oh my gosh.
He called Charlie a dumbass. Yes.
My arch nemesis. That's okay. Everyone needs one, and mine is Peter David. So there we go.
For those of you who think creators are polite and on their best behavior in interviews, not so with Peter David.
Well, not so when I'm the interviewer. I bring out the truth. Even if you can't handle the truth. So, yeah. So, here's my thing about the Toad. Your power is jumping, and your way to commit suicide is jumping off a building.
Maybe I'll land on my head.
I mean, do you actually think this is going to kill you? I mean, I don't know. There's a part of me that just feels this is a cry for help from the Toad, which is not in keeping with his character.
Right.
Yeah. I absolutely think that's exactly what the Toad is doing. He's trying to reach out. Just someone, please. Someone care.
Yeah.
And honestly, this is part of my thing with the Toad. Because you'll notice they're drawing Eugene more jowly in this too. And this is like one of these things that when they did the X-Men movie and they made Toad like conventionally just, oh, I'm gonna stand down and that makes me unattractive. It's like, okay, I guess that's a thing that happens. So it's like I like that this is classic Toad. I like that we're gonna see these people who are clearly meant to be not your typical, Aryan god heroes, and it comes into this that, yes, the Toad actually has a lot of experience as a super being.
Right.
Like he actually has trained under Magneto, and like he knows how super beings think. And he is actually an established super person that, gives you that weight.
And then here they kind of give him the whole Jamie Foxx from the Amazing Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man saves him. He's like, Spider-Man's my friend. Spider-Man's my friend.
Well, but to be fair, everyone thinks Spider-Man is his friend.
He likes me. He really likes me.
As I always say, everyone knows Spider-Man. The question is, does Spider-Man know you?
It's a very one-way relationship.
Well, and it is. And Spider-Man, for what it's worth, is trying his best to deal with these people.
Well, again, it's New York in the 80s. Like we said, it's probably like his 5th jumper of the day.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many people jumped.
Or something, or saving them from something else. I mean,
yeah.
Well, to be fair, the Toad had a lot of trauma too. Like, I mean, I fully believe that Magneto probably used to put his cigarettes out on him. Like,
I mean,
yeah. So, and at one point too, didn't he end up going crazy and leading the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants himself?
Oh yeah, he's tried that too. Yeah.
So he's had a lot of ups and downs over his long life. So
yeah. I mean, really, Toad is one of those characters who actually, Phil, you can tell me this if he's on Krakoa, because he shouldn't be. Because it was revealed he is actually not a mutant.
Oh, he's not a mutant?
He is an orphan child with a mutation awakened in him in utero by the government.
What?
Oh, it is crazy. Because they had to explain exactly why Toad didn't look like Toad in the X-Men films. And the same way they had to explain why suddenly Mystique didn't look like a human being, but now was a lizard. They had to did a whole comic book explaining these things where they're mutated. They further mutated, just sort of like when Ben Grimm goes up and gets re-exposed to cosmic rays.
Yeah,
and so the core of the thing was the government trying to control mutations, and the Toad was one of their experiments in making someone a mutant. So
they don't do a lot with him these days, but he is on Krakoa. But remember, Sinister's on Krakoa, and that dude made himself a mutant. Yeah.
So basically, and I guess in both cases, it is literally just, well, they have the X gene expressed. We're not going to care how you expressed it.
Yeah.
But it is the X gene because we're racists now, and that's mutants now.
Krakoans
just
only.
Super racists.
Well, Madeline Pryor keeps calling them out. She's like, "Why don't you trust me? You literally have Sinister on the council. Why do you trust him and not me?"
Yeah, because you're a clone, not a
girl.
Your X gene isn't expressed. Literally, that's the whole of it. It's like literally. Her X gene never expressed.
That's the only thing not expressed in that costume.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Because it's through magic, Philip. Her magic expressed her X gene, not her actual. She doesn't have the actual X genes that Marvel girl would have. She just has demon powers, and that's not the same.
Is she still the Goblin Queen?
Yeah. They just put her in charge of Limbo because
Oh, nice.
I think they're setting up for the
What
dark
could-
web.
what
Yeah,
could-
because she's
what
about
could
to
go
team
wrong
up.
there.
She's about to team up with Ben Riley.
Nice.
Well, you know what? They're both mutant. They're both clones, and you
Mhm.
know,
Well,
honestly, Ben Riley needs a win.
And he has a thing.
And-
yeah,
he
they
has a
might
thing
be
for
happy
redhead.
together.
They
might
could
happy
be, you know. I mean, that's the thing. It's like all these people, they just want to be happy.
Yeah.
And if
give them
everyone
a
were
chance.
just like totally racist all the time, and like you know, organicists and saying, "Oh, you weren't born of a womb. You can't be a human." It's like, dude, you know,
Yeah.
you hang out with the Vision, who is literally a synthezoid. You know, just like let us all just be. Maybe not be just so judgmental. But anyway, getting back to the story, Philip.
Yes. So Toad's going around thinking Spider-Man's his friend, and then weeks later we see Spider-Man breaking up this hold-up. Then the Toad comes bouncing in. I love how Spider-Man's like, wait, the Toad, who are you? Wait, weren't you with the Masters of Evil? He's like, don't you remember me? He's like, oh
The
yeah.
Masters of Evil.
Yeah.
I love
No,
it.
the Brotherhood.
Oh no,
of
the Evil
Mutants.
Mutants. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a different evil brotherhood. Thank you very much. We
Brotherhood
were
of Evil Mutants, Masters of
mere
Evil,
masters.
Emissaries of
Same-
Evil.
Yeah,
It's all
emissaries of
Evo.
evil. Same difference.
Yeah. Well, you know, they were evil, but for mutantness.
Yes.
It's like the Shining Knights of the Ku Klux Klan. You know, you believe in what you're doing. You don't think you're evil, but you'll take on the title if it gives you more power to scare people.
Right.
Yeah, no, mutant racism is just as bad as human racism. There, I said it.
Yeah.
So I guess camera crew show up, and Toad's proclaiming he's like Spider-Man's partner and everything and friend, and then Eugene sees this on TV and is not too happy about this.
No, and I love how like dark and sinister Eugene looks in this.
Sitting in the dark watching.
Yes,
TV.
he said he could not have a partner. This man is stealing my thunder. He's an amphibian-based hero too. No, never.
There can be only one.
Then the Toad's trying to keep up with Spider-Man, almost falls off a roof.
Well,
I
you
love
know.
the panel too where Spidey's picturing the Toad in the Black Cat's
Oh
outfit.
yeah, because he's like, I tried to have a partner in a Black Cat, that didn't work. And
That didn't work.
he's like, why couldn't you try me in the Black Cat's place? And he's just like, nope.
He's imagining it. It's so good.
And again, you said this was a John Byrne title, correct?
No, Peter David.
Oh, Peter David. Yes, Peter David. Yes, okay. So I don't know who wrote that panel and why that is exactly where Peter's mind went to, but that's where he went. It is a weird thought process to have.
Yes. But then the Toad goes goes to Josie's bar. Is like, he's trying to find all these criminals to ambush Spider-Man so he could show him why he needs the Toad's help.
Although, to be fair, I mean, this is the thing. I love that it's Josie's bar, which is, of course, for those of you who are fans of Netflix, Daredevil, is where Daredevil hangs out.
Oh yeah.
So that is a deep cut that they used in the Netflix from this issue. Because I don't think that's an established thing outside of this issue.
No, it is. And
It is?
Frank Miller's Daredevil. They had,
Has used Josie's bar several times. Okay. But then again, it all ties back to here. It's like, I love when there's a deep dive that goes a little deeper. So that's good.
But then, Eugene catches up to him. He's like, you're trying to betray Spider-Man.
Yes, but of course, who was outside the window while Toad was making all of these plans, Philip?
It was Eugene, wasn't it?
No.
No, later on. Okay.
Yeah, it's Ollie.
Ollie. Yeah.
Yep.
Overhears the whole monologue.
To further complicate matters,
he does his whole villain dialogue because thank goodness they all live at least 3 blocks from each other.
Makes it very convenient.
Well, that's the joy of low rent Manhattan, is that there were just certain sections where people just said, no, we're rent controlled. We ain't never leaving, and neither are our kids. I don't care if we're 20 people living in a studio. Eventually, there will be only one.
Yes, and the end of the issue just it generates in the chaos because the next morning all the hoods show up all hungover, then Toad and Frogman show up and basically fighting each other, and then Ollie shows up and gets into it with the two of them, and Peter just tells it, be like, "Oh, this is pathetic."
Well, but who was it who told Phil who told Spidey to do this?
What?
Bambi.
Oh yeah.
Bambi tells
right.
Peter at
hanging
the
out
start,
on the rooftop.
Yes, the way to get rid of a creep is to hook him up with one of your creepy friends. And this is like Peter's thing is like, it's not even his intention, but the creeps all meet and they're like, wow, so you're a real live supervillain? You've been doing this for years? It's like, well, yes, actually. I've trained under Magneto. It's like, wow, we could be amazing. We could be heroes. And like, man, your tech is amazing. Yes, I know. I built these all myself. Like, okay. And the Misfits are born.
Yes, the Misfits. I love it.
Oh, dear Marvel, give us the Lost Misfits run of these heroes.
Even if it's just a mini series, we need to have it.
Yeah, I mean they're doing a bunch of that 90s stuff. They're doing that new Fantastic Four thing with Peter David right now. They're doing a Joe Fixit thing next year. Yeah, man. I mean, they had Peter David writing all these miniseries. Yeah, doing Misfits miniseries.
I mean, I don't know if Peter David would give them the respect they deserve. I'm going to be honest with you. Well, he'd almost make it a joke of some sort.
No.
Instead of like young people trying to be heroes, because not for nothing, Frogman and Steel Spider continue to try to be heroes even after. I mean, Toad, he started a villain. He kind of went back to villainy. He's always been, a loose cannon, much like Hawkeye.
They can still be heroes, but they can still be jokey and silly at the same time. They can balance that.
They can balance that.
Yeah.
They can. And so maybe that'll be interesting if they can do it.
I mean, they could do that. Do an untold story that takes place 5 minutes after this issue, and you can even show why did Toad go back to villainy.
I mean, that would be neat. Yeah, you see him getting called back to Magneto and and all of that evil that he did. So
yeah, because something obviously happened to make him go back to his old ways.
Yeah, and like for what it's worth, I think I'm trying to remember who was it who teamed. Oh no, that was Boulder. That was my other favorite superhero. So I have a thing for fat superheroes for reasons. And a lot of us, or in a lot of them, not really a superhero, I'll admit it. But if you're a tubby and you're in a comic book, I kind of have an affinity for you for a reason I'm not going to talk about right now. But representation matters. That's all I'm saying.
Yes, that is true. That is true. Absolutely.
Anyway, moving right along.
Well, that was our 3 issues. So unless you gentlemen have other final thoughts on these things,
well, this last one was my favorite, the 266 out of the 3 that we read for this. I really love this one. It's always a treat to go back and read this one.
Well, yeah, he had the all Frogman, Spider Kid, and the Toad.
Yeah. Well, if I remember right, there was a lot of, or maybe not a lot, but there was a fair amount of dark stuff going on in Spider-Man at this point in time. So it was nice to have these light little fun issues in between all that stuff.
Well, first there was an alien suit trying to take control of him, and then we've had a Hobgoblin mystery hanging over our head since 239. Yeah. So yeah.
Oh, it's still a mystery. Yeah, that's right. I noticed that it was still a mystery at this point.
Oh yeah, they started that in 2. I mean, they went through like at least 2-3 different writers. Yeah, it started at 239. It seemed to be revealed at 289, but then they came back to it after the Clone Saga. It's like no. It wasn't Ned Leeds.
That was the first red herring.
Wait, it wasn't Ned Leeds?
No, they seemed to reveal that. Yeah, no. No, it was Roderick Kingsley.
Oh, that's right, Roderick Kingsley. Okay.
Because he had a brainwashing machine, so Ned was just another one of his pawns, just like left.
Okay, that I didn't know when Roderick Kingsley came into it.
Yeah.
I didn't know if that was like a later retcon, or if like the Ned Leeds was a thing for a while.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Justin, you can correct me if I'm wrong, because like your co-host was someone who's a huge Hobgoblin fan, but like Roger Stern wrote that original story, and I think when Tom DeFalco took over, didn't he even tell him? He's like, "Oh yeah, I had planned on making it Roderick Kingsley, so that's who Tom DeFalco had in mind the whole time."
I think so. Yeah.
And then right before the Ned Leeds reveal, they kind of took Tom DeFalco out of it or something. So.
Yeah, I can't remember who the third writer was after that. I know that it went from Roger Stern to Tom DeFalco, and then
I think it might have been Peter David who did like that Ned Leeds issue. I think
maybe
Peter David.
Possible.
And then after the Clone Saga, Roger Stern came back in and wrote that 3-issue miniseries. Like, no, it's Roderick Kingsley.
No, yeah, this is actually what it was supposed to be. Yeah.
I don't know. I know that there's a lot of people chomping at the bit about this in the MCU. So, because you remember, Ned forgot Peter. Ned no longer had a best friend. He remembers Spider-Man, but now Spider-Man doesn't talk to him anymore. You know, I mean, it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing about the Peter Spider-Man thing, that they forgot Peter, but they all remember Spider-Man. So it's like, oh man, it's crazy back in the MCU. Anyway, moving right along. I mean, I love this. These were some great stories. It's about the Misfits and how and their origins and how they came together. I love that people are respecting Toad for the first time. Although, much like, so many other supervillains, you give them a little respect, they wind up kind of getting more supervillainy. So it makes sense that it all ends poorly. But I enjoyed it greatly.
Yes. And we do need to see that Lost Misfit story.
Yes.
We do. Make it happen, Marvel.
Yeah.
All right. So, yes, kids. There's week 1 of Sub-tember done. Join us next week. These two gentlemen will be back. We're going to record this in a few minutes. Superior Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3. But you'll hear that next week. And then in 2 weeks, Justin, if you want to join us, but Charlie and I are going to be joined by Noel and perhaps Russell to talk that Marvel team-up issue with Howard the Duck.
Ooh, Howard the Duck. Yeah, I might be able to make that one. That'd be great.
Howard the Duck.
Lil's like, you're doing that one. I said, send in feedback, little hellfire.
Yes. Yes, she has to send in feedback for that one.
Yeah. I mean,
I think she sent in feedback a long time ago.
You know how duck penises work, right?
We all do, Lilith. Although, to be fair, I don't know if that's all duck penises. It might just be mallards that she's talking about, which are wild ducks. Domesticated ducks, of which white ducks do fall into, may have more simplistic penises. I don't know. I may have to look into it.
Power of the penis.
Don't you laugh at you, Justin. All right. So, yes, kids, send your thoughts. All the upcoming goodness, even if we already hit it. Yeah, we'll read the emails. So email us, CapesandLunatics@gmail.com, or call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And remember, you can find Ultimate Spidercast on Facebook, on Twitter. Find the Web of Spider-Man Facebook fan group, now at 3.9K members. So yes, come join and get us to 4,000. Find links to all the various social medias for all the shows we do. Link to the YouTube channel. Everything we do gets a video. So smash that subscribe button so you don't miss anything, especially these Sub-tember issues.
Smash it.
Smash that subscribe button. And most importantly, subscribe to the Patreon. Once again, paying for this out of our own pocket, every little bit helps. At $3 to $5 gets you early access to creator interviews, including the monthly Chichester chats.
I got the good mic out for you guys.
And
Chichester chats.
For quality. See, there you go.
Quality.
Mini me, Lil. Thank you. And speaking of her, since she loves the man pain, superhero movie brackets, we will find the worst superhero movie of all time. The August episode, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen versus Sin City 2 with Dame the Kill 4.
Oh, man, I'm looking forward to that one.
The
Never had a chance.
The September episode, The Phantom versus the Spirit. And then in October, because Hotel Fire demanded it. Spawn versus Meteor Man.
Oh God, so good. Yeah. I love it.
Because you don't have to be there. All right. And of course, pick yourself up some Capes and Lunatics and Capes and Lunatics Sidekicks merch. Find it all at Linktree, linktr.ee/Capes and Lunatics. Aluminium.
Real aluminium.
All right. And all right, special. Well, we're both special guests, but special guest, Justin the Owl Osgood. Thank you for joining us. Tell these fine people where they can find you on your regular shows.
I can also be found at Gamma Charge, the strongest podcast there is, where we talk about everything to do with the Hulk and She-Hulk, and also Tomes of Evil, a comic book supervillain podcast. And also we started up a new show just recently with our friend, the High Priest of Khonshu, Ray, called Predator and Prey, in which we talk about the Predator and the new film Prey, as well as the new comic book series and all kinds of Predator stuff.
Yes, I just picked it up for my son.
I
loves the Predator.
Nice.
I love how Ray's always too busy to do more things, but then you find something that really clicks with him. He's like, yeah, go ahead, throw it in.
Go ahead. Throw it in.
All right. Charlie Esser.
Well, you can always write to me in the old-fashioned email way, the way our mothers and fathers once did. Hey, it's pure seltzer. At superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, at gmail.com. During the show, it's seltzer. And, of course, you can always follow me on the Twitter as I live tweet things I care about, like Stargirl someday when it comes back, which is soon, unless I already missed it.
No.
At Charlie Esser, that's CHARLIE. Yes, SCR. Look for the two E's in the middle.
For quality. Bing.
Thank you, Maz.
Yeah, I believe Stargirl's August 31st, I believe.
No,
so.
I know it's later in August, but you know what? It wouldn't surprise me if I wind up missing it the first night. Because I'm just that discombobulated.
All right, kids. Yes, thank you. Join us in 1 week for Superior Spider-Man 1 through 3 with these two superior fill-ins.
The one true Spider-Man. Thank you very much.
In a few weeks, we'll hear what little thought of this whole damn month. But until then, swing on back. Twip, twip, twip.